After a 13-27 season, the Chicago Sky have decided to fire Reese Witherspoon. In the words of Vince McMahon, "You're fired!"
Angel Reese, who calls herself the face of women's basketball, couldn't believe what was happening to the Chicago Sky. What was supposed to be a season of promise turned into a complete disaster. The team, struggling with a 3-27 record, was falling apart both on and off the court. For a city known for its love of sports, this wasn't just another defeat. It felt like a hard blow to the gut. Even the most loyal fans couldn't look away from the chaos unfolding.
Players on other teams say I wish we drafted you.
Really?
Yes. Like teams that have drafted that were above me, that the players that got drafted above, and it was nothing against their rookies that got drafted, but they were like, I wish we were teammates. I wish we drafted you.
Teresa Weatherspoon, a WNBA legend, was brought in to rebuild the struggling Chicago Sky and restore hope to the city. However, instead of sparking a positive change, her leadership seemed to ignite more problems, fueled by locker room drama and questionable coaching choices. Then there was Angel Reese. Her bold attitude and fiery behavior on and off the court left fans divided, with some cheering her on and others shaking their heads in frustration.
Angel Reese, did she just run a coach out of town, and is she running a player out of town? Their best shooter out of town? Because Kennedy Carter looks like she's ready to book it out of Chicago.
In an interview, Reese confidently declared that in 20 years, people would look back at her as one of the reasons women's basketball gained more attention. But this story isn't just about numbers and wins. It's about a fan base left in the aftermath of shattered dreams, wondering where everything went so wrong.
Now, Marina Mabrey, she's already flown the coop on this team, and it was quote-unquote because of culture. Well, what happened to the culture? Who torched the culture? Who's selfish on the team that would cause the culture to melt down?
Reese's behavior off the court only added fuel to the fire. On her podcast, she claimed that several teams who passed on her in the WNBA draft later called to express regret, a statement that was met with doubt and skepticism. During a game, her controversial flagrant foul on Caitlin Clark sparked even more criticism. Reese argued it was a clean play on the ball and suggested Clark was getting special treatment from the referees. However, the video didn't back up her claims. Fans on social media quickly pointed out her excuses, calling them embarrassing and deflective. Many believed her actions were a big part of the team's struggles and poor chemistry.
When Tyler Marsh did the press conference, he talked about Angel Reese, he talked about Cardoso, who I think is going to be a star in the WNBA, but he did not really mention Kennedy Carter at all, and that raised a lot of eyebrows.
During the press conference, Tyler Marsh spoke about Angel Reese and Cardoso, who many believe has the potential to be a star in the WNBA. However, he barely mentioned Kennedy Carter, which raised a lot of eyebrows and left people wondering why.
Angel Reese is now quoted as saying, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. She refuses to say Caitlin Clark's name. It's because of me too, and I want you to realize that.
The Chicago Sky are falling apart even faster than their 3-27 record shows. What was once a team with so much potential is now stinking into dysfunction. At the heart of the mess is Angel Reese, whose presence has reportedly turned the locker room into a battleground. Leadership has disappeared, the team's culture is in ruins, and now their top scorer, Kennedy Carter, is already looking for new teams. She averaged 17.5 points per game last season, but now seems more focused on Twitter polls than the playbook.
Chicago Sky franchise has been an absolute dumpster fire since winning the WNBA championship in 2021. Let's go through some of the names that have left. James Wade, who was the coach and GM, left in the middle of the season last year to go to the NBA.
One veteran player anonymously remarked that it was clear who Weatherspoon was trying to please, and it wasn't the team. Young stars like Camila Cardoso struggled to find steady roles, with their potential largely ignored, while Reese's individual stats seemed to take priority over the team's success. Things reached a new low when the Sky traded Marina M. midseason, known for her shooting and defense, and was sent to the Connecticut Sun under unclear circumstances. While she didn't directly criticize the Sky, her praise for the Sun's professional environment spoke volumes. She highlighted how players there could focus purely on basketball, clearly a jab at the chaos she had left behind in Chicago.
Candace Parker, Emma Messman, Courtney Vandersloot, Allie Quigley, Kalia Copper was traded, Azura Stevens. And then this year, after drafting Cardozo and Reese, they were competing for a playoff spot and traded Marina Mabrey, their veteran, before the Olympic break.
Exit interviews revealed a bleak picture of the season. Veterans questioned Weatherspoon's leadership, while younger players were frustrated by the lack of direction and clarity. Basic principles like on-court discipline were often missing. By the end of the season, the fractures in the locker room were impossible to ignore. Now, with Weatherspoon gone as head coach, the Sky are left to rebuild after a disastrous season. It's unclear whether Angel Reese will still be part of their future, but her time in Chicago has become a cautionary tale. It shows what can happen when personal ambition takes precedence over team unity. Instead of a fresh start, the Sky ended up with chaos, with Reese at the center of it all.
However, new Sky coach Tyler Marsh was asked about whether he sees Kennedy Carter in the big part of what he's doing in the future during an appearance on the Athletic Women's Basketball Show. Quote, in regards to Kennedy, she's a great player. She was a huge catalyst to what last year's team was able to do and accomplish, and obviously she's slated to be a free agent.
Kennedy Carter, the Sky's leading scorer and a restricted free agent come January, didn't hold back on social media. She posted, "I'll be coaches and GMs anyways. Let's see what you think," inviting fans to weigh in on where she should play next. The response was immediate. Some fans sided with her, blaming the team's toxic leadership, while others mocked her for airing out the team's problems like an episode of Real Housewives. WNBA edition *. But Carter isn't the only player with issues. Marina M., who averaged 15.4 points per game last season, left mid-season, citing culture problems. Even Candace Parker, the team's former superstar, didn't stick around after their 2021 championship win, choosing to head to Las Vegas for a fresh start. Teresa Weatherspoon didn't last even one full season as head coach, reportedly losing the locker room by focusing on a select few players. Now it's Tyler Marsh's turn to clean up the mess. In his recent press conference, he hyped up Angel Reese's potential and praised Cardozo, who's drawing comparisons to Helia Boston. But when it came to Carter, Marsh remained silent, his vague comment calling her a huge catalyst for last year's success, without committing to her future, didn't exactly inspire confidence.
But the focus thus far has been on players who we know are under contract this coming year, and that's where the communication has been thus far.
Reese, while impressive on the court with averages of 16.8 points and 10.6 rebounds per game, isn't helping the situation off the court. Her alleged role in the locker room tension is hard to ignore, with rumors of favoritism adding fuel to the fire. Teammates are left wondering if the Sky are putting individual talent above team unity. The team is clearly in freefall, and Tyler Marsh's refusal to address the Carter situation directly only adds to the speculation that they might be preparing to part ways with their most productive player. But if Carter is indeed part of the problem, as her past with previous teams suggests, it's unclear whether the Sky are rebuilding around talent or simply bracing for yet another collapse.
And I can't help but wonder, is that what happened here? Is Angel Reese and the way she wants to play, and I don't know if you've ever noticed her social media posts, but she's very me, always. Me.
The real kicker. All this drama comes just a year after the Sky made a playoff push. Fast forward, and now they're a textbook example of how not to run a franchise. Reese may not be the sole cause of the meltdown, but her rise in such a fractured system isn't doing her any favors in terms of popularity. So where does this mess go from here? Will Marsh clean house and start fresh? Will Carter leave, making the Sky even more irrelevant? Or will this saga keep entertaining fans, but for all the wrong reasons? One thing's for sure. Chicago Sky's culture has officially become a meme.
According to league sources, Weatherspoon had lost the locker room because of a culture that catered to the needs of a few players. Dear Lord.
The Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever tell two very different stories in the WNBA. The Sky, once a championship team, now face dysfunction and decline due to poor leadership and internal turmoil. Teresa Weatherspoon's chaotic time as head coach left the team divided, and while Angel Reese brought talent, her polarizing behavior only made matters worse. The big question is, Can the Sky rebuild their team culture and reclaim their championship mentality? Or will they keep spiraling downward?
You see the players here are very experienced and they want to keep a good environment and they make sure that they kind of like hold people accountable for that.
Leadership issues and favoritism have weakened the foundation of the Chicago Sky, creating an environment where individual drama takes priority over team unity. Tyler Marsh's hiring as head coach offers some hope, as he strives to bring discipline and teamwork back to the squad. However, the real challenge will be whether players, especially Angel Reese, can embrace a team-first mentality without a solid foundation of unity and accountability. If the Sky can't make these changes, they risk alienating their fan base and falling further behind in a league that demands excellence both on and off the court. In stark contrast, the Indiana Fever has become a shining example of what strong leadership and a clear vision can do after years of struggle. The Fever have completely rebuilt their team culture from the ground up. With President Kelly Koff, General Manager Amber Cox, and head coach Stephanie White leading the way, they've established a culture based on transparency, discipline, and collaboration. Their leadership goes far beyond just making roster decisions. They've built a system where every player feels empowered and valued.
And I can't help but wonder, is that what happened here? Is Angel Reese and the way she wants to play, and I don't know if you've ever noticed her social media posts, but she's very me, always. Me.
At the heart of the Indiana Fever's success is Caitlin Clark, whose record-breaking rookie season has set new expectations for both the team and the league. Clark isn't just a standout player. She's a transformative leader who lifts her teammates with her fierce competitiveness and unwavering support. She has seamlessly integrated into a team that also features stars like Aliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, and Kelsey Mitchell. Together, they found a perfect balance of individual brilliance and collective unity, making Indiana a top destination for free agents. The Fever's rise has become a blueprint for success, while the Sky's struggles showcase the consequences of poor leadership and unchecked drama. As the WNBA continues to evolve, these two contrasting stories offer a powerful lesson. For the Sky, redemption means rebuilding trust and putting unity first. For the Fever, their steady ascent could mark the beginning of a new dynasty. One thing is clear: the league, its fans, and its players are closely watching these teams' journeys as they will shape the future of women's basketball.